episode 35 of the Bull-Headed Podcast. We are back after a little hiatus last week. I'm with my fellas, P. Bush and Zoo. What's up?
Doing all right, man. I have mixed emotions from this week, man. My Bears are just collapsing from an 8-8 down to probably a cool 5-11. The Red Rifle has entered the city. It's perfect, man. He's got orange hair. It partially matches the Bears' uniforms. I will say that the thematic quality of Andy Dalton is really fitting in the Bears, but I am very pumped for tomorrow, man. March Madness. We got the play-in games tonight. First great game with Drake and Wichita State, man. Drake pulling it out with almost choking it at the end, but they pull off the 1-point victory. So it's a great way to start the tournament. I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, man. I don't know about you, but I had an off week. Not as bad as Pat with his Chicago Bears, but my Bulls blowing another lead against San Antonio. They were up 25, kicking ass with the new starting lineup, and then they dropped an egg in the fourth quarter. So that was a bummer.
Rough week for Chicago sports.
Yeah. Man, it was bad. It was a bad week.
Yeah, we got the brackets, man. It's like I said, I've only gotten one so far. I think I'm gonna try to get two more before the start of tomorrow's, I guess, tournament games. But we're gonna start there with the tournament. It's a lot of, I think this year's parity, I would say, especially with the Blue Bloods being out, or a couple of the Blue Bloods being out. But I'm gonna ask the guys. They're gonna take it in a lot of directions of who they think maybe he's going to make the Final Four, some upsets, things of that nature. So, P. Bush, I'm going to go ahead and start with you, man.
You led this in well, Sean. I mean, this is kind of a weird tournament. I mean, I think it's relatively wide open. I think the three most consensus teams are Baylor, the Gonzaga, and U of I. And then it kind of drops off from that point of who's your fourth in the Final Four if you're going to pick all one seeds. A lot of people don't think Michigan's actually the fourth best team. There are people throwing around the name Ohio State. Florida State could be very interesting. I know Sean's a big FSU fan. I've been watching them as well a lot lately. And
they produce NBA players.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, they do. And it's pretty interesting. But, I got a couple games I like to keep an eye on. Virginia, Ohio, I think could actually be a good game. Virginia is very streaky when it comes to the tournament, going from losing in the first round as a number one seed to, winning the national championship. I mean, you never really know with that team, and Ohio could be relatively deadly. I think, they could shoot pretty well. But that 4 versus 13 could produce a good game. I think Gonzaga, I do have them making the Elite Eight, but
what?
I got them losing to Florida State, man. I got them losing to Florida State.
You did not just say that, bro.
I got them losing, man. I got.
Okay, Pat. We gotta make a bracket.
I don't know,
50-50 bracket, man. 1v1 bracket, man.
I'm 1v1
bracket. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll set this up after. But look, I think U of I. They're my national champion this year.
U of I.
U of I is my national champion. I think they have.
Pat, you're being too cute with it this year, man. U of I.
I think I'm just basing it on Gonzaga literally playing nobody all year. They're the team that played them relatively well. I mean, for me, they're good, and yes, they have NBA level talent, and I can't deny that. But put them in a pressure situation.
2 lottery picks,
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
Lottery picks.
That doesn't, dude. Blue blood schools that I personally nowadays would consider Gonzaga a relatively blue blood school. At least in the past 4 to 5 years. People could argue all the way back to the Adam Morrison days. Back when they used to choke every game, dude. But for
Jalen Suggs ain't Adam Morrison.
I never made that comparison.
Well, you're making that Gonzaga comparison.
They don't deal in close games. They don't have the home court advantage. Granted, it wasn't really a big thing this year. This will be an interesting team to watch because, yes, they are the consensus number one team. Most people have them guaranteed making the Final Four, and most of them probably making the national championship game, let alone winning it. But man, this Ayo Dosunmu,
he's an NBA player.
Cockburn, that man could be an NBA player. He's 7 foot 285, agile. He's huge, dude. Dominates in the post. There's not many big men, I think, in the tournament that could give him a run for his money. I think the only team that, and I don't even know if they would end up facing off unless they made, the national championship game, but UNC's height might be the only thing that could rival a Kofi Cockburn, dude. And this team has been relatively eye-opening to watch. They, thwarted Michigan. They just set them aside like it was nothing. A number 1 seed, let me add. Give me a name that Gonzaga's beaten and just absolutely stomped on that is of note. There's really nobody. So I think there's a couple other 1 seeds that could give Gonzaga a run for its money. But I think there's a couple other seeds. Iowa's very streaky. They could get hot. I don't think that they would end up winning. But Purdue could be dangerous, going against a Villanova team possibly in the second round that has had injury issues. There's a lot that you could go through here. But my pick, man, my national championship game, Illinois over Florida State, man. Illinois over Florida State.
You got Florida State in the championship?
Yes, sir.
A lot of people do, bro. A lot of people do.
Okay, Pat. You know me.
Don't get too cocky, just like the Super Bowl, man.
No, this is different. This is different. In the Super Bowl, I was worried.
It's one game.
I was worried. I know that. I was worried that the Chiefs were going to lose to the Buccaneers. I said I was riding Tom Brady all year, man. I said that was the most complete team in football. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. It was not going to be a cake. Well, I didn't know the lineman for Patty Mahomes was going to tear his Achilles, man. That's a big, big deal. And that would have been a different story. But I respected the team. I said it was a 50-50. It was a coin flip. I was just betting on Mahomes because that's my boy. That dude won me a fantasy football championship. So I was just riding with my boy.
I feel that.
So yeah, this is completely different situations now. Now we got a clear best. Do you know what this team reminds me of? This Gonzaga team reminds me of? That Villanova team that was whooping everyone, just blowing out everyone. Jalen Brunson, man. Jalen Brunson.
Competition. They at least had competition.
Okay, the competition for Gonzaga is not that tough, but you got to look at the talent on the roster, man. Dude, Jalen Suggs. Do I have to say more?
No,
best point guard
he's a
in the nation. I think he's a top 2 pick up there with Cade Cunningham, and I think he should be a number 2. Evan Mobley, stop it. You know my rules about bigs. Always take the guard, man.
Of course.
Look what happened to the Warriors. Should have taken LaMelo Ball. Always take guards over bigs. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, man. It's completely obvious. But then you got the white sniper, baby. The white sniper. This dude's potential. A senior lottery pick, man. Yeah. My boy Corey Kispert, man. Corey Kispert,
he's
senior.
nasty.
Yeah, he's got experience. So you got a big. So he's obviously a bigger fella than everyone else because he's got age, more experience, great shooter. So you got the point guard and you got the spot up shooter,
the combo guy.
Yeah, man. But Gonzaga ain't done, man. They ain't done because they got potential 3 NBA players, baby. They got potential 4 NBA players, man, according to the mock draft. Drew Timme, a center, and Joe Ajayi, another point guard, man. 4 NBA players. 3 in the first round and 1 in the second round. So you got the center as the guy that anchored the defensive end. Come on now. This is a complete roster, man. Complete. And they've been to the championship game when they lost to North Carolina. Yeah. So they got some pedigree. This ain't no fluke, ain't no Cinderella, because Cinderellas don't win no titles, aka U of I.
That's not a Cinderella. They're a top 3 team in the nation.
I'm just saying the history the history of the school's program is very Cinderella. They had a nice year.
2005.
Darren Williams.
D. Brown, Luther Head. Don't forget about Luther.
I give you that. U of I is a solid pick.
But
having Gonzaga losing in the Elite 8 will cost you your bracket because this team is too good, man. Unless Jalen Suggs gets injured, knock on wood for that. He ain't getting injured, but if that team stays healthy, dude, based on the statistics, I got some statistics I got hitting, man. This guy's a pretty smart dude. I use this guy's analytics every year, man. He's pretty good. And he has Gonzaga as a clear favorite, man. They have him over the rest of the competition. So over 50%.
For the number one seed.
Yeah. No. Sometimes there's fraudulent number one seeds.
Okay.
Man. But this overall consensus was last time this high was that Villanova team with Jalen Brunson.
That's fair. That's a good point. And hey, statistics are a great thing to make a good pick. But at the end of the day, man, they have to win.
All they do is win. They didn't lose a game this entire season.
All right, they're gonna have. All right, let's look at who they're playing. They're obviously all right. They're playing a 16.
16, yeah.
We're writing that off. Okay.
Yeah.
Then they got to go and either play Missouri or Oklahoma. I think they walk through that one. Now, if Virginia and Creighton win, I do have Ohio beating Virginia, but Virginia or Creighton could give Gonzaga a run for their money. They're both solid defensive teams.
Creighton? Is Doug McDermott coming back with Kyle Korver? Hell no, then Creighton ain't winning, man.
Creighton.
I'm just saying. They'll give them a run for their money. Yeah. And then they got to go play either Iowa or Kansas. And I don't know how they'd stop Garza, to be honest. I mean, he's arguably the player of the year. He's averaging like 25 and 10 or 11, something like that. He's an absolute monster in Iowa. They could give him a run for their money, man. And I personally have them losing to Florida State in the Final Four. So I take that back. No. Listen
Kansas
to me.
In the regular season?
No. Listen to me. I have Gonzaga making the Final Four, but losing the Final Four to Florida State. So that's actually, I thought it was Elite Eight, but I have Gonzaga making the Final Four along with Florida State, Illinois, and Ohio State. And then I've got Florida State, Illinois in the championship game with Illinois prevailing, man. I think they have the best big man guard combo in the country. I don't think many people can rival that. And Io is a NBA talent, along with a big man NBA talent. You're talking a 7-foot, 285 pairing up with a 6'5" guard, man. The masked assassin. He's looking like LeBron James out there, man. The lefty, quick first step. It's just beautiful to watch. They're a hot team right now, so you better. They haven't lost in weeks.
Okay, I give you that. U of I solid because
against good talent.
They got the point guard. They got the multiple NBA players. So you got some trends,
solid
man.
Shooters.
Yeah, they got some good shooting. They got a nice big to protect they got the ingredients, but the Zags are the clear favorite for a reason, man. Unless they shit the bed and pull a John Wall Kentucky team, man. Like unless that happens, they're gonna win it all.
Your favorites don't win that often, though. Let's be honest. There's always a little bit of a shakeup in there. Like you said, Villanova was the last clear favorite to win. What happened in the years between that, man?
Virginia won. They were 1 seed.
Yeah, but they weren't the clear favorite at that year.
Yeah, they definitely weren't clear favorite because they lost in the first
to the
round
16. Yeah, exactly. So, dude, that's my point, and I think that's why we can all agree that March Madness is, I think, the best sporting event in any sport. We're talking, Super Bowl games, series in NHL, MLB, NBA. March Madness tops it, in my opinion. There's nothing more exciting. There's nothing that creates more inefficiency at work places than March Madness, man. People are just watching on their phones throughout the day. You guys all know the deal. You guys are going to be getting on there all throughout the day tomorrow. Yes. I'm sure Zoo will have it on in the background, let's be honest.
I will.
It's going to be a hell of a time, man. But, Zoo, I did want to ask you, because you're a big Cade Cunningham guy. What do you think about Oklahoma State? They're a force.
The problem is the Oklahoma State team is just not that talented.
Yeah.
It's just not that talented. Cade Cunningham, if he had a crime partner, a second NBA guy to play with, I would obviously raise him up above my ranks. But usually guys like this, like you have a superstar and with a bunch of bums, you ain't going to do much in the tournament. It's not his fault. Guy is good. I want him on the Chicago Bulls because he would be a 6'7" point guard. He'll be the best point guard since Derrick Rose. So I want him on the Bulls. But, dude, dude, this guy's big, man. He got pass. He could shoot. He's got all the moves, man. This guy, high IQ. This guy's clear consensus #1 overall pick. No questions about it, man. You don't even need a debate about this. You don't even need to watch that much college basketball to know that Cade Cunningham is the best player in the nation because he fits the mold.
He is what the NBA is looking for in a point guard combo guard.
Hybrid wing point guard is like the best thing to have.
Solid decision maker. I think he does need to up his. I mean, it's not easy to say, but getting up his basketball IQ, his decision making. I think he can obviously get better, but that's just something that comes with time. So the only thing, Zoo, is they got to go through Illinois. I mean, they would face off in the Sweet 16 if you're taking favorites every single game. You got Oklahoma State against possibly Tennessee or Oregon State. And then if they win that game, they're playing against Illinois, man. And that Cade Cunningham versus Ayo Dosunmu will be a hell of a matchup in guard play. That could be the best guard matchup in the country at this moment, unless, because Jalen Suggs, unless Cade Cunningham or Ayo make the national championship game to face off against Jalen.
That'll be crazy.
That's the best guard gameplay we're going to get to see, in my opinion, I think. So that could be a hell of a Sweet 16 matchup.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised. Where's your love for Baylor, man?
I like Baylor.
They got a nice roster, multiple NBA players. They got a point guard that's decent. Like, they got the ingredients of being a championship team.
I think Ohio State will give them a run for their money, though. I think Ohio State is the best number 2 seed. Personally,
really?
the most consistent number 2 seed. I think Iowa's a bit streaky. Alabama, great team, but also a little on and off. Houston, I just don't believe in Houston personally myself. Coming out, in the Illinois quarter of the bracket. But look, I think Ohio State has the best chance. I do have Baylor against Ohio State in the Elite Eight, with Ohio State prevailing to the Final Four, man. It's good. That would be a great game. I think that could be one of the most well-watched.
Ohio State versus U of I?
No, it would end up being Ohio State versus U of I, but preceding that, Ohio State versus Baylor could be a great game as well. Baylor's a great defensive team, man. They're quick.
Yeah, they're really
yeah. For me, man, in my bracket, super chalk, man. Super chalk.
You go 1 seeds?
I went all 4 1 seeds, man, because the rules. When to win your March Madness tournament, it's not about picking the upsets. It's about picking the champions and hoping you get the most points at the end, man. And the only pick that matters, the Final Four, whatever. All you gotta know is I got Gonzaga over Baylor. That's what you need to.
That's all right. That's a good
Gonzaga over Baylor.
How close of a game you think that would be? How close of a game?
I have it as a 6-point game.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gonzaga gets pushed it to double digits because they're just that good.
They are that good, but we haven't seen them play against top 50
they
team in the country.
Kansas, man. They whooped them. They dropped 100. They dropped a century on the Kansas Jayhawks, man. That's a top
back when Kansas was getting their feet under themselves. They're the only blue blood that really
recovered.
They
beat Iowa. They're a 2 seed.
So did Indiana twice, man. Come on, it doesn't mean that much.
Don't bring a scrubby team like IU into this. They beat Virginia, man. They got some solid wins.
They do. They have solid wins, but I just think that
they beat them by double digits. It's not like one corner 3 to win it. It's like they beat them by double-digit points, man.
Zoo, all it takes is one game, man. One bad game, and there you go. And I agree, Zoo. They probably have the best consistency of anybody in the country. I don't think anybody's denying that. But their consistency in the majority is against poor teams, poor mid-level teams. And now they're going to be playing the majority of their games with major competition besides maybe their first 2 rounds. You're talking 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 games if they do make it to the national championship game where they're going to be seriously tested. So I think it's not a bad pick picking Gonzaga, but I hate picking the favorite, man. Zoo, you know that above all people, man. Miami Heat all the way, Bucks all the way. Got to go for that underdog, even if they're still favored in many games. So it'll be fun,
man. It'll be fun. But at the end of the road, the favorites usually always win, man. So
they're always there.
I'm always riding with the 1 seed, and Gonzaga is the best team in college basketball. They'll get it done. Just you wait.
Watch out for Florida State, though, man. That's all I got to say.
Wow,
Sean, you got anything to add to that?
Yes, I think out of these 2 teams, and they're going to play each other, I think, in the second round. I'm not sure because I don't have the bracket in front of me. But I'm big on momentum and NBA guys like Zoo likes to bring up. And for me, I don't know if Georgetown has any NBA guys, but I do like that they ran through the tournament and they won. So they're a little bit confident. I feel like a team that's like that. And plus they're in that classic 12-5 with Colorado. So I feel like usually in that 12-5, somebody gets upset. So I feel like if Georgetown gets that game, then look out. It could be just the momentum of, them going and having that Big East, because I feel like any Big East team has a chance to just run through and do anything. But, I like Georgetown. I'm kind of with you on Florida State. The only thing about them that's kind of a little weird is I've watched them over the maybe last 2 weeks, and when they're not at home, they don't shoot as well. Now, they did okay in the ACC tournament, but I don't know if their shot's going to travel. We'll see. Oklahoma State is interesting just because Cade plays. I was telling Zoo before we got on, like he plays point, so I feel like his teammates are not as good, obviously. But when you're the point guard, I feel like you're able to raise your team. So he could maybe get them into a position where they can make a couple or I guess maybe upsets and not really upsets because they're a 4 seed, I think. So they would have some games that they're supposed to win.
They'd have to knock off U of I. That's probably their biggest test.
Yeah, that would be tough. I just feel like with him being the NBA, like he's a legit #1 guy. So I feel like with him just having that aura, and he kind of is super. If you've ever watched him, he's super competitive. So it's not like I don't think he's one of those NBA guys. It's like I'm just here. I played whatever. I just play for my star.
Not a Ben Simmons.
No, definitely not.
Exactly.
That was one of the more they underachieved because it wasn't just him on that team. He had like 2 other guys that were like.
He didn't want to go to college, man. He's from Australia, man. He doesn't care about NCAA basketball.
It's stupid. Yeah, because it's what's funny about that is he went to LSU. Like that should tell you all you wanted to. Like, he just was there for like the whatever.
Paid.
Yeah, he got it. He's out of there. Makes sense. I mean, that's SEC money, but
exactly.
I think Georgetown, FSU. Oklahoma State are probably my 3 teams that I could see making a push.
Nice.
And Georgetown mainly because of that, how they like ran through the tournament because they had to win the tournament to get in the Big Dance. So I could see that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's probably going to be Gonzaga. There's going to be the guys in there. Like there's going to be the main guys, but we'll see. We will see.
I think that the Michigan section of the draft or of the bracket, the eastern portion. Mm-hmm. I think that one is the most wide open. I mean, it's got Georgetown, Florida State, UConn.
Yeah.
I like UConn.
Maryland.
Maryland. I got UConn beating Maryland and then beating Alabama. And I actually have them losing to Florida State in the Elite Eight. I think another hot team being UConn, coming out of the Big East.
And they do that. That's what UConn do. When they get in the tournament.
UConn's livelihood, man.
Yeah, they can make a run.
That is how they make their program money is just a random national championship run, let's be honest.
Yeah, basically.
We got cardiac Kemba, man. So I think they could be interesting. I honestly, besides the 3 #1 seeds that I think are favored, that Michigan portion of the bracket will be very interesting to see play out. Just because I think they're the streakiest #1. I think that there could have been teams that you could argue getting that #1 seed over them. Yeah. Especially Ohio State, having beaten Michigan and then losing in the Big Ten championship. I think that if Ohio State had won the Big Ten tournament, I do think that they would have gotten the 1 seed over Michigan. But I still think you could argue that Ohio State's the better team. So I'm pumped to see all this Big Ten representation.
Yeah, they really showed out this year. You could there were so many teams. Yeah, I didn't think Maryland was going to make it, but they ended up getting in there. So
Michigan State sneaking in with a play-in game.
Yeah, that's a favor I feel like to Tom Izzo. I don't.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I don't.
Better than Coach K getting the nod for no reason.
Let me tell you something. There would have been an anarchy because I don't know if you guys were reading when they were saying Duke possibly could get in if like teams that have COVID are not able to play. And it's like, let me tell you something. It don't matter. It would have because I think Duke was like on the next 4 out. It don't matter if one team in the tournament wasn't able to play. Duke would have skipped all those teams just to get them in because of I feel like Duke just brings the ratings, which they do. But I didn't really watch any Duke this year. They were like I was telling Duke earlier. It's kind of
no NBA players, man. They're irrelevant.
Well, they had one. They had one guy, but he quit. I don't know why.
It's weird not seeing.
They're going to the G League, man. They all go to the G League, getting paid.
Yeah, they are.
That's another conversation for another day, man. I think that's going to be starting to happen a lot unless they change the one and done rule. But talk about that on another pod. I know people are sorry I have to do this, but we're going to quickly mention the Chicago Bears and their recent transactions in terms of free agency and the pickups they had. I don't know where you want to start. If you want to start with the departure of Trubisky or the acquisition of Dalton. Hey, man, the floor is yours, man.
Look, man, I will say, and I'll start it off on a positive note. I'm glad Trubisky is getting a chance somewhere else. I think that
stop it! You're happy that dude screwed over your franchise, man.
No, he
was the #2 overall pick, man.
It was his decision.
What?
It was not his decision.
Yeah, it's his decision to be how good he is, man. He's just not that good.
Zoo, listen to me. I know way more about the Bears than you do. Let's be honest.
All I know is that Ryan Pace drafted a top two pick, and had an opportunity to draft a franchise quarterback, and he took Trubisky. And you like the brother? I would hate the brother. That dude sucks.
Pace's fault.
He sucks. No, it's also his fault.
Let me break this down. Let me break this down for you. In 2018, they go 12-4. He's got the number 3 QBR in the league. 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, 67% completion, throwing about 4,000 yards. Pro Bowl season, and they get screwed over by the field goal. All right. 2019 comes in. He starts playing poorly because of all that bad media, man. And you know what? I will blame him for that. His mentality of being able to get over criticism is one of the worst in the league. And that's what caused his downfall. Now, he gets injured and comes back the next year, right? He gets benched for Foles. He gets benched at 3-0. 3-0, he gets benched. They bring in Foles. He loses 5-6 games in a row.
That 3-0 was the flukiest 3-0 ever, man. That Detroit Lions game.
Trubisky comes back, and he leads them into the playoffs. So, I mean, he's not the best. Look, statistically, it's very sad, but he is the best game-to-game quarterback the Bears have ever had, and that's embarrassing, and I understand that. And that's why I was happy and elated, but I knew, and I told you both 2 weeks ago, I'm not getting my hopes up on Russell Wilson because I do not trust Ryan Pace to pull it off. Well, I got to give Ryan Pace a bit of credit because he offered a godfather deal.
Give me credit for being a scrub. He signed Andy Dalton
Andy, they were in trade negotiations for 3 days up in Fargo, North Dakota. Okay, him and the Seahawks GM up there by himself. He's negotiating. That means that they slept and made a decision for 2 nights. They slept on that and came back and continued to negotiate. And finally, the GM of Seattle called Pete Carroll and said, hey, they offered this. I'm enticed by it. And Pete Carroll is, nah, I don't want to start rebuilding. We have DK Metcalf. We have young talent. I do not want to rebuild.
You got to entice to rebuild. Nobody wants to rebuild. You have to give incentives.
But Pete Carroll's going to retire. If Russell Wilson leaves, Pete Carroll's going to retire. I think that's the case with him. But look, they offered 3 first-rounders, a 4th-rounder, and Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks. Yeah. That's pretty damn ridiculous. That's better than what I said I would have offered for him.
It's a results-driven business. There are only 32 of these jobs in the world, and Ryan Pace got it. What makes Ryan Pace that good?
We're not, Zoo, we can shit on Ryan Pace all we want. I'm talking about that he made, in my opinion, a damn good offer, but Seattle
not good enough, because the good enough offer is Russell Wilson in a Bears uniform, man.
No,
that's the good enough offer.
No, I think that it's Seattle's. They just don't want to give him up. They were willing to hear, but look, man, if I were Ryan Pace, I would not give up 4 first-rounders for Russell Wilson at age 31, 32. No. You're sacrificing anything to help Russell.
32,
He's 30,
man.
32?
Yeah. And NFL players are playing till 38, 40 now, man. It's part of the game now.
He's got a little bit of different playing style than Tom Brady, though.
He doesn't get hit that much, though. He's good at avoiding hits.
He's cuts and runs. Yes, I agree with you. But look, I hate the decision, but I will say that, once they knew that they were going to sign Andy Dalton as a complete backup. Once Seattle made that announcement, they immediately signed him within a couple hours. I mean, they had him on dial. I think, I can't be mad about it just because, look, if we didn't I didn't think we were going to get him, Russell. I really didn't. I thought there for a day or two, maybe we had a chance. Yeah. Maybe we had a chance, but dude, I just didn't see Seattle. Why would Seattle part ways with him? I don't understand. They have a great offense.
They got a bad relationship. There's something about the relationship.
Well, we don't know. That's pure skeptical. I'm going off.
No, it isn't.
Has been reported.
His agent leaked to Adam Schefter that these are 4 teams he would want to go to. You don't do that when you're in a good relationship. Well, you do that in a bad relationship.
Well, you know what? Maybe they'll trade him next year, but they just don't want to do it right now. Maybe they think they have one more year in them. I don't know what's going on in the Seattle organization. All I know is the dismay that I have for the freaking Chicago Bears, man. They suck. I think it's just a Band-Aid. It'll be another shitty year, and I think they'll enter the full rebuild after this coming season, which, you know what? Ryan Pace ruined it. He's out. I think
Gotta
Nagy
Sam
will end up being
Jones.
out too. But look, hey, I'm only going to root for Andy Dalton. I hope he has a decent resurgence.
You want to tank next year, man. You got to get a highly drafted quarterback, man. Highly rated QB.
I know, but Zoo, I think they're going to draft a quarterback in this draft. So I think that if anything,
this late?
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll draft a quarterback.
We're going to trade up. Where y'all at?
No, they'll take Mac Jones in the second round. I think that's what will happen.
Have to trade up. They might have to trade up to get him.
I mean, they're sitting at 20. But you think about it, they're not going to trade their first round pick now, right? Unless they somehow pull off a random Deshaun Watson trade that I don't see happening. That's really the final option they have if they want to pull the trigger. So they have either the 20th overall pick, where I highly suspect Mac Jones will fall to that point.
You know who he is? He's Matt Ryan. His best case scenario is Matt Ryan.
That's fine. That's fine. If he does. But Zoo, what would you draft at this point? With the current situation, what would you do? Draft an O-lineman?
Who's going to draft this late, man? You want a top 10 pick?
No. I'm saying that what other position as the Bears would you draft? I think that they should draft offensive
O-lineman.
Right. And I agree with you. At 20, I think you could get a damn good O-lineman, especially a tackle.
Yeah, get a left tackle.
And then if I were the Bears, I'd see if Mac Jones falls to the second round and pick him with the second round pick. It can't hurt. I mean, you might as well see how well he turns out.
When Ryan Pace is drafting QBs, it can hurt real bad.
Yeah, sure. But Ryan Pace isn't coaching. Nagy maybe gives him another.
Nagy got your boy Trubisky shipped out, man. He hated him.
He did. He can't play though. Nagy's a good coach though. But he's still like what 28 and like 20, and he had Trubisky. So that tells you he's like decent.
Nagy. Okay, you could also argue that Nagy's like 1-7 without Trubisky.
Well, I didn't understand
who was actually the better person of that duo.
I would rather have Nagy.
I would clean house.
I'd rather.
I'm not cleaning house. I give Nagy 1 year. I give him 1 year with like another like. If you guys draft a quarterback, then personally, with drafting a quarterback, I'm not big on Mac Jones because I don't know if he can even drive the ball through a Chicago winter. I'd rather trade one of my assets, whatever asset you have in Chicago. I would trade it to try to get in the top 10 and get a quarterback. I wouldn't just settle for Mac Jones because you'd probably be drafting another quarterback after. Yeah, I would try to take whoever to get to the top 10 to get a guy.
Hell, dude, I wouldn't even mind trading for Sam Darnold at this point. I honestly,
not a bad idea either. Not a bad idea.
We've all been talking about that for months.
And the Jets they said he's like, I mean, they haven't said it, but
they're going to draft a QB.
Yeah.
They're going to draft a QB.
So look, man, let's put it this way. If I were the Bears, I have no clue why you didn't just sign Trubisky for a 1-year deal for $5 million when you're doing the same thing for a 1-year deal for double that with Andy Dalton. What's the difference? Trubisky arguably has had a better last 3 years than Andy Dalton has. I don't even think that's an argument. I really think he does. So
Dalton was pretty awful last year.
Awful, man. And with 3 solid weapons on the Cowboys, 3 legitimate wide receivers that he could have thrown the ball to. So I think in hindsight, after not having gotten Russell, I do think that they should have just, eaten their own words and signed Trubisky to this 1-year deal. But at the same time, I'm happy Trubisky's in Buffalo because he's not going to get any hate. He can actually just focus on himself and work on his game.
Stop, he's getting paid millions, man.
Dude, he's on a 1-year deal. He
deserves to get some hate. They play like trash. His arm is so good. What are you talking about, man?
You never said that.
Yeah, you're like, I remember. You're like, this offseason, man.
I knew he was a good athlete, but I didn't think he could throw.
He looked real good. Nah, Trubisky's
I don't understand. Personally, I've never understood the complete hate for him. I think that everyone else.
You don't understand the hate?
No, because Nagy literally can't develop a quarterback. He's an offensive coordinator. He's not a quarterback coach, but he thinks he is. That's the problem.
I don't understand why you guys didn't go after somebody like Tyrod for a year. Why'd you go after
He's coming off
Tyrod? Yeah, he came off an injury, but he played pretty well for the Chargers. He's better option than Dalton.
He's a game manager, and I agree. But I
think even maybe trade for Bridgewater. Is he still at?
That's what I was going to say.
That's an expensive.
He's way more expensive. I don't know, man. It's a bad situation. I'm just kind of writing off this year as a Band-Aid year.
The quarterback, it's tough with like the guys who are in that. I guess what would you say, backup tier? It's tough with the talent that you can get because there's not a lot of guys outside of the the starting 32. Like, there's not a lot of guys because, like, even with the Patriots, like, people were like, why'd they bring Cam back? It's like, well, who the hell are they going to go get? Like, unless you go get a guy in the draft, like, there's not a lot of guys. Yeah. I mean,
that was the best.
Yeah.
You know who could be scary next year?
Washington football team.
Yeah.
They could be scary next year, man. They could be good in that division, Zoo. Think about that division.
Cowboys will be back. Cowboys will be back with that.
The Cowboys, I don't trust them at all.
Cowboys,
I got to see it to believe it.
Eagles, I'm writing off. The Giants might get Kenny Galladay. That could be a nice addition for them. Kenny Galladay, down the field guy.
So bad.
Saquon coming back, it'll help Daniel.
Yeah, Saquon, I think Saquon's done, man. Off of ACL, man. Like,
I don't think he's done.
Hey, that's what they said about Adrian Peterson, man. Relax.
The guy's not AP, man. AP's an alien.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears are a sad story, man. I think we've gone through this for all 35 episodes that we've done this podcast. Let's be honest. There's always something Bears in there.
And it's a true tragedy because if the Bears ever got a quarterback, it would be probably one of the top, just because of the fan base. Like, having like a Bears quarterback being like a top guy would be like, that's up there with like Green Bay, Dallas, of course.
That's up there with the Browns and the Cavaliers, man. Like, Cavs winning the finals, Browns making the playoffs, Bears getting a good quarterback, man.
Yeah.
Never in the
I would love to be a Bears
franchise.
quarterback because I would be able to live. Like, I think that's why Russell wanted to go because, I mean, you're in Chicago. It's like one of the great sports cities. It's just
him and Ciara, man. They could have had a good life in Chicago, man.
That's
probably get it done.
If you go look, what was the places?
It was rain over snow.
What was it? Chicago, Vegas,
Dallas Raiders, and I think Saints.
Was it Saints?
That to me that screams all his wife, which I don't blame him because who wants to live in freaking Seattle? Like, no.
We talking about no state.
It's in that. Nah, they have state income. Dude. Don't kid yourself.
No, that's state income tax.
They might. I don't know. But either way, it's a nice city, but it's raining all the time. He's been there his entire career, man. Maybe he just wanted a little change of pace. But Pete Carroll said, no. He gave him the Dikembe finger wag, man.
Yeah. I don't see Russ. I don't think he's getting traded.
I just think it's crazy that it was all on Pete Carroll. He was the one that made the call, man.
Well, I would have hung. If I got a franchise quarterback, I don't care what he's whining about. I'm not trading him at all.
Exactly.
Unless it's like maybe a Deshaun situation where he said, if Russell was doing like how Deshaun is doing, saying I'm not going to play for you ever, then I'll start fielding calls. But like Russell, I felt like was just trying to flex his muscles because I think from what I was reading, I think he was just more mad at Pete's like control with like what he's doing within the franchise, and he's just doing whatever the hell he wants to do, which I guess he can because he's the head coach. But
and he
Russell
just
doesn't like it. Yeah,
and he did with Russell.
Yeah. But I understand. I guess his wanting to get out. Like they said, I think he's mad about the O-line and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Chicago ain't that much better when it comes to the O-line, let's be honest. So, and it's funny because he said the O-line is something that attracts me. Come on, man, don't bullshit me.
Yeah, he's just you know how they say
shooting the shit, man.
Yeah, he's just saying stuff to get the hell up out of Seattle. But we'll see. Like I said, anything's possible. Right now, I haven't seen any. Deshaun's still on the mend in terms of trying to get out of Houston. So until you maybe see, because Tom Brady don't count because he kind of got pushed out the door. But like until we see a quarterback actually force his way out, it's just kind of been status quo with the franchise guys staying in their respective cities. But a lot of great talk as usual. We had to get the NCAA tournament talk in and talk about who we think is going to win. Had to unfortunately talk about the Bears. Hopefully. We see some more signings. Like I said, I was telling Zoo before, man, we saw so much movement in the NFL, NBA, all that stuff. NBA playoffs are going to be right around the corner. We're going to be talking about that. I'm not sure. I think what would it be? I guess Sweet 16. Next time we, I think
around there.
Yeah.
We'll actually be able to kind of pick our national champions a little bit better at that point. I think Gonzaga will be out. So.
Gonzaga, man. NBA guys, Zoo. I know.
Dude, 3 of them, maybe 4.
Yeah. But I think it'll be around the Sweet 16. So we're gonna see who ends up advancing, and I'm sure there'll be something that happens with the NFL. Maybe a quarterback gets moved. I don't know. We'll see. But that's all we have for tonight. You guys make sure you follow us on Instagram at bullheaded_pod. Follow us on Twitter at the same handle. We're always on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, all that. And as usual, for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we're signing out.